If anybody sees this, then it's already too late for me. But it won't be for you, not if I can help it. Just don't play his game. That's what he wants. That's how he takes you. Please, just heed my warning. Don't download the game. What game, you ask? Who am I talking about? Oh, so you don't know. Let me start from the beginning then. My name is Tom. I'm a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I have been since the first game on the SEGA Genesis. If you asked me anything about Sonic, I would go off on hour-long tangents about the game designs, character sprites, and even the different personalities of the characters in the games. But all that changed one summer. A summer I'm not going to forget. Because it was the summer that ruined my life. It was August 23rd, 2012. My family had just recently gotten a new computer for the household and was running Windows 5 at the time. We didn't have very many games for the computer yet, but that was fine by me since I have my old Sega CD and Genesis consoles still. I played those things every day since I got them for my 8th birthday. At this point, however, the Genesis was getting worn down and beaten up to the point where blowing into the cartridges weren't working. I was longing for a Sonic fix that day after I came home from summer school. Something to take the edge off from the constant stress of homework, long lectures, and crappy lunches. My Genesis started up just fine, but none of my games would work. Sonic 1 through 3, Sonic and Knuckles, not even Sonic Spinball! I was starting to get frustrated when I heard a knock at the door. "Mom? Who is that?" I called out. Nobody answered. "Mom?" I went down into the kitchen. Usually, Mom will be home making dinner by now, but instead, I saw a note scribbled hastily on the counter that I hadn't read when I came in. It said,
"Had to run a few errands. There's spaghetti in the fridge. Love you, Mom."
I tossed the note and went to the front door, but instead of seeing somebody there, I saw a CD envelope with a note taped to the front with my name on it. I took it inside and read the note. The note was from my best friend Kyle. He too was a Sonic fan, and we bonded over how obsessed we were for the franchise. So reading his note filled me with confusion as I read it.
"Tom, this game is not what you think it is. It's a curse. I played it, and now he's forcing me to send it to you. He wants your soul, just like he wanted mine. Don't let him take you. Don't play the game. Just destroy it. Please, set me free."
I turned the CD over to read what was written on it. Sonic.EXE was on the cover in permanent marker. Red marker, too. It was weird, but I just thought Kyle was having a laugh at my expense. It was probably just a CD port of the original Genesis game, nothing more. I put the CD into the disc reader on the computer after booting up the thing, and installed the software. The icon just showed a golden ring that said Sonic.EXE under it. So far, nothing strange happened, but that changed after the SEGA logo disappeared. SEGA! The title screen for the first Sonic game popped up like normal. Sonic was there, wagging his finger like that cheeky blue blur he is. But then the screen changed for a split second before going black. I couldn't see all the details of it, but I remember seeing red. Lots of red. Especially his eyes. Those stayed a little longer on the screen than normal, because they were so piercing. Like 2 red pinpricks of light in the abyss before they faded to black. Looking back at it, I realized that the river was made of blood, and the sky had turned dark in that split second. It didn't feel right. Especially after the character selection screen showed up. I saw Tails, Knuckles, and, oddly enough, Dr. Robotnik as the 3 playable characters. I could only select Tails for now, but I didn't. I tried to exit the game, hitting the escape key over and over again. Nothing happened. Next, I tried the task manager. Still not working. The Windows key? Nothing. Then, I mashed my keyboard to crash the game, which I thought worked since the screen froze for about 5 seconds. The laugh that issued from the speakers told me otherwise. It was hollow, sinister, and malicious. The music in the title card hit my soul hard. The sinister music was being played backwards, and I can't for the life of me remember what song it was. The title card simply read Hill before Tails was seen in Green Hill Zone. Deciding I'd better continue, I moved Tails forward. I jumped a few times trying to get him to fly, but he wouldn't. And that irritated me as I traversed the supposed Green Hill Zone. There were no hills to be seen. There were no enemies either, for that matter. Just a few flowers and some trees. This went on for maybe 20 seconds, and then I saw dead animals. Flickies, Pockies, Cuckies, and all the other little creatures in the Sonic world were all scattered on the ground and in the trees. I saw Tails' sprite change expressions. He looked scared, and I knew Tails did not have a scared sprite in the character sheet files. Yes, I did the digging. Something else I noticed as I ran through the corpses was that Tails' life meter read 0. That was also impossible, since once you lost your last life, it was game over. So I had no clue what kind of game this was that Kyle sent me. But it definitely wasn't an ordinary port of the original Sonic 1 game. And then the music faded away. Tails stopped running. And at the far right side of the screen was him. Sonic. Or I thought it was. His eyes were closed, like he was contemplating something, and he looked impatient? Thoughtful? Whatever he was, Tails didn't look happy to see him. He started running towards the left side of the screen as static started to play. As I forced Tails to move towards Sonic, the static got louder and louder in my ears. Once Tails was close enough to him, Sonic stood up and opened his eyes. Oh God, those eyes. The Solera were pitch black, and his irises were blood red. I felt a jolt run through me as the screen went black. And then the text came up.
Hello. Do you want to play with me?
The next thing I see, the title card says hide and seek, and the whole of Green Hill Zone is all in flames. And Tails was pointing at the right side of the screen with a look of pure terror on his face. Something else I noticed was that his name on the life counter had also changed. Alan. Who was Alan, and why was he represented by the Tails sprite? Questions without answers, and I didn't like what the hellscape was implying. At the last second, I noticed the timer counting down. I had to make him run. That's why he was being so frantic. By the time the counter stopped, Tails had reached a burning forest. The screen read,
Ready or not?
And then he jumped out at the screen, his eyes empty and his teeth razor sharp as I heard him bellow.
Here I come.
The drowning music started. The clock was ticking. Tails was running. My eyes were glued to the screen in horror. Sonic started flying towards Tails, taunting him by steadily getting faster behind him as the music also sped up. Go, 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 I murmured out loud, pleading for Tails, or Alan, or whoever it was, to run faster. As I pressed the right arrow button so hard I thought the keyboard would break. Sonic's mouth opened wider as the song kept playing, until it stopped. He passed Tails, but not before breaking his legs, causing him to trip. I held my breath as Tails nursed his injured leg, sobbing. My heart went out to the little guy. He didn't deserve this fate. Sonic popped back into the scene, black ooze dripping from his eye sockets. And as Tails looked up at him, he snapped the kid's neck, and the screen turned black. All I could hear were distorted cries and choking sounds from Tails. He was dying, suffocating on his own blood, and in so much pain from his broken neck, and I could do nothing about it. I felt sick. Once the grisly sound stopped, more text appeared on the screen.
Too slow. What
The character selection screen appeared again, and Knuckles was unlocked. Tails' icon was missing from the bottom portion, but where there were static on the top parts of the selection boxes, I could see a bloody, mangled-looking Tails looking out at me from behind the screen. My heart dropped as I saw his pained expression, his sunken eyes with the bloody eyeballs that seemed to be protruding from their sockets, and his twisted neck. I stood up from my chair and backed away from the computer. I didn't want to continue. I couldn't. Not if it meant killing these characters. My mind went back to Kyle's note. Kyle. He implied that he was taken? He said he played the game. Did that mean his soul was trapped inside this horrible game? If so, then that meant there could only be one way to set him free. By playing the game. With a heavy heart, I selected Knuckles, heard that bone-chilling laugh again, and started praying that I was right. The title card that came up read, "You can't run." And it sure as hell felt that way. I started thinking that the game froze again, because the screen was so dark. But I saw that the timer was still going, so that must have meant that the game was still alive. I hit the right arrow key, and I saw faint movement on the screen in the shape of Knuckles. He too looked frightened, and it takes a lot to scare the strongest echidna in the Sonic universe. A flash of lightning shortly afterwards showed that Knuckles was in the scrap brain zone. It was eerie, to put it politely. I hated how dead the zone was, how the lightning threatened to create a problem to face, and how the red, stormy background felt like it was hiding Sonic beneath them. And they probably were, because he teleported right in front of Knuckles, making the music stop. Red static filled the screen before the text came up. After a few seconds, he started taunting Knuckles by teleporting back and forth from the right to the left sides of the screen. His sharp yellow teeth were glowing ominously as lightning flashed in the background. At the bottom left, the life counter read Dave, and the life counter still read 0. Again, who was Dave, and why was he trapped in this game? Back and forth, I led Knuckles to Sonic to try and punch him, but every time I'd get close, he would teleport away, taunting me. That was until he finally kicked Knuckles in the face, knocking a tooth out. A little white speck was seen flying as the lightning flashed again. Sonic appeared right next to Knuckles, and he stabbed him. The screen went black again as Knuckles let out agonized gasps, squelching noises of Sonic ripping out his innards, and a choked cry of anguish that got glitched out. I could feel my stomach churn and my face grow cold and white as I read the text that popped up on the screen.
So many souls, so little time. Wouldn't you agree?
The character screen showed up once more, and the look on Knuckles' avatar was sickening. His left eye was bulged out, his face was twisted into a grimace, and I could see the top of his chest was ripped open and bloody. He was also missing his right eye and a tooth. I couldn't stand looking at it. I couldn't play this cursed game anymore. I had to call Kyle, the police, somebody. I ran away from the computer and dialed Kyle's phone number, but the dial tone I received as an answer felt like a lead weight in my stomach just dropped. I next tried dialing the emergency line. Again, no answer. What the hell was going on? My mother wasn't even back yet, and I found that very concerning. I looked out our front window just to see if I could spot her car, but I was so dizzy from fear and stress, I collapsed on the couch. I felt the world spin, and I fell unconscious. When I opened my eyes next, I was in a dark corridor with a black and white checkered floor. The only source of light I could see was a single spotlight surrounding me. My first thought was the Marble Zone in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but the map tiles were not black and white in the game. I started walking down the corridor. and I heard that sinister laugh again. My blood ran cold. He was here, and he was watching me. I started running. A few seconds of running only revealed the blood spattered on the walls. I didn't see any corpses, but I didn't need to. The disembodied forms of Tails and Knuckles floated forward, hanging like they were puppets on strings. Alan and Dave, I realized. Their trapped souls in the husks of the lifeless characters. Their voices sounded hollow and frightened as their pleas for help caught my ears.
Please, help us.
We never asked for this.
He likes to torture others for fun.
He likes making us suffer for sport.
You have to run.
And then, suddenly, they were yanked back to the darkness, screaming. And then with a loud, squelching noise, their screams were abruptly cut off. I felt my head spin again as two glowing eyes peered out of the darkness, and two rows of sharp teeth widened into a Cheshire cat-like smile.
You are weak.
And with that last warning still ringing in my ears, I woke up in a cold sweat. The computer was still on, the game was still active, and the last person still standing was Dr. Robotnik. The last person. No. The last soul between me and Sonic.EXE. With shaking hands, I took to the keyboard one last time and hit enter. I heard his laughter ring out again, and the screen went black. I heard thunder roll behind me, and the rain started pelting down on the roof of my house. Typical that a storm would roll in as soon as the last act was about to take place. And quite literally, it seemed, as after the title card of ... left, I saw a red-curtained border, overlaying the same castle-like interior Dr. Robotnik was staring at that I saw in my dream. Black and white checkered floors, a stone wall holding torches in the sconces, and the curtains swaying in some unknown breeze. I urged Robotnik forward, unable to suppress the crawling sensation up my spine. The music was what I now realize is the forward-playing version of Hill's creepy song. But that didn't help my nerves any. After 40 seconds, there was a long staircase I was forced to go down. And the stairs all slanted into a slide after going down them, and I only know this because I tried going back only for Robotnik to start sliding on his face down them. Once I got to the bottom of the staircase, the scene changed. The walls turned blood red, and the torches issued blue fire. The curtains, too, were slightly darker in color because of the lack of light. It was like the feeling of giving up hope incarnate. Another staircase, another long journey down. Every step felt like I was ushering Robotnik to his demise. And maybe I was, because the next change of scene brought a black background. No light whatsoever, and no music. At the bottom, I saw Dr. R change to Paul, the last wayward soul. I heard thunder crash behind me as Sonic.EXE showed up in front of Paul, just like he did with Alan. Only, instead of snapping Robotnik's neck, he started opening his jaw wide, roaring in triumph. And then the red static appeared. Paul was gone. After about 10 seconds, the screen said, "Game over." The words were splattered with blood. Then the game went back to the title screen. Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik were all staring out at the screen. Robotnik looked like a ghost with his mustache ripped out, and his eyes were completely gone. There were no characters left to select. No more game to play. I'd killed them all. Me, Tom. Not him. Not really. I'd led them to him, like some sort of perverted shepherd. This thought terrified me because I had just killed innocent souls. And all for what? Because I got too prideful. Because I wanted my Sonic fix. I played right into his hands. The black screen of the computer showed 2 glowing red dots as lightning lit up the room. I jumped up from the computer seat and backed away from it. No, I whispered. No, 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 no. It was Sonic.EXE, but he looked slightly different. He wasn't pixelated like in the game. He looked... what's the word for it? Hyper-realistic, I think. What are you? I shouted at the monster in the screen. With a bloody finger, he wrote 3 words that still plague me to this day. And then, all I remember is that laugh, an open maw, and the world around me going black. Look, I don't know if you'll believe me. You might think I'm insane, and maybe I am. All I know is that I'm still being hunted down. I'm still being tortured. That corridor with the blood-spattered walls is my new home now. And he's not a living soul in sight except for him. And whatever new soul gets trapped down here. I don't know how much longer I can hold out. I don't even know if this encrypted message will make it to the web. Years have passed, so I don't know how any of this works. But from the little code I've learned, I can at least send this message. So please, don't let him...
System error. Transmission interrupted. Foreign entity identified. Sonic.EXE. Proceed to download file. Yes or no.